Reiki basically is the concept of passing of energy through your hands. I worked with a woman who had a blocked throat chakra and she wasn't able to sing for over a year. I was able to unblock that. She started recording music 2 weeks after.
Welcome back to another episode of the I Am Pain-Free podcast. I'm your host, Rob Renee. Today we have an extraordinary guest, Cooper Harrison. Cooper's journey from a leukemia survivor to a healer is nothing short of inspirational. In this episode, we dive deep into his transformative story, exploring his battles with cancer, his path to holistic healing, and his passion for helping others achieve wellness through natural methods like Reiki and subconscious programming, which is really interesting, even though people would look at that as woo and or Eastern medicine. He is a faithful and practicing Christian. So it's interesting just to see his story and how he reconciles that. But tell you, Cooper's amazing. He shares his early experience shaped by his understanding of the mind, body, soul connection, and his transition from relying on that Western medicine to embracing alternative healing practices. We'll uncover those secrets of his holistic approach that he's using his gifts to guide others in overcoming their pain and finding true vitality. Get ready to be inspired by Cooper as he reveals the power of energy healing, the importance of rest, and the incredible impact of positive affirmations. So whether you're curious about natural healing or seeking new ways to live pain-free, this episode is packed with valuable insights and practical advice. Don't miss out on this enlightening conversation. Promises to leave you motivated and empowered to control your health. Pain-free, faithfully, and naturally, as we like to say here on the I Am Pain-Free podcast. Here we go. Here's Coop. Hey, it's Rob Renee. Welcome back to another episode of the I Am Pain-Free podcast. Got a fun guest here. We got Cooper on the show today. How you doing, Cooper?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I am doing well. So I'm just excited to learn more about you and your story. I've been having just a blast learning from other people. And so that's what I want to do today is you've got a great story. We've had some good conversations. I was excited to share you and your story with my audience. Don, did we get started? Just to tell a little bit, just give a background on who is Cooper?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on a distinguished show like this. So I'm Cooper Harrison, grew up, born and raised St. Louis, currently reside in St. Louis. Do a lot of different things. I do Reiki, I do subconscious reprogramming. I follow God. I'm a Christian, and I am one of those people that is just a lover of life and love to explore, love to travel, love music, art. I'm an artist myself, also tapping into healing music myself. Still work a regular job as well. And I also have a collective group for entrepreneurs that are in the phase zero process. Those entrepreneurs that don't know where to start, don't know where to begin, or maybe find their talent with what they want to be successful in. Because the thing is, we have an oversaturated market of entrepreneurs that just want to make money and not actually tied into a purpose that's higher than themselves. And that's the problem right now. And that's where there's this gap with entrepreneurship and just people trying to find their full purpose outside of just a regular job. And I feel like my group is now growing and expanding to help people provide for that. But what started everything for me was being a cancer survivor. I had leukemia. I was diagnosed when I was 7.
7 years old. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And then I'm excited just to learn more about like that, your cancer background and then the survival story there. And then just how did you get into a lot of people are trying that listen to me want to understand just natural ways to get rid of pain and or just health and healing. And it's really interesting to see your journey, right? With what you started out with and then how you got into Reiki and the other things that you're doing, the sound healing. And those are going to be some really fun things to explore just because you have a really practical experience doing it and using it. So let's go back to your cancer story. So you're 7 years old, you were diagnosed.
Yeah. So diagnosed, actually, my diagnosis date is 6 days away, June 30th, 2000 and was it 6? Yes, 2000 and actually no, sorry, 2004. So actually 20 years ago,
Wow.
I was diagnosed, and I've been in remission for 17 years now, thinking about it. But yeah, I was diagnosed in June, going into second grade. I was just at a soccer camp, just having fun being a kid.
Right.
And I noticed some pain in like my right hamstring. And I was like very confused by it because I don't know, you're 7 years old, pulling a hamstring is definitely pretty unique just because kids are meant to be more flexible in their muscles and those sorts of
Right.
things, you know? So
Resilient when you're that young.
yeah, but what really set what I was going through apart from everything else was night sweats and fevers
Uh,
for a week straight. And it was never a fever to the point where I had to go to the hospital, but it was pretty abnormal to have a fever for that many straight days. So my parents, because my mother's a medical professional, so my mother finally took me to get some blood work done. And getting the blood work done, they saw my white blood cell count was abnormally high
mm,
and everything else was abnormally low. So that usually only happens when you're fighting an infection, that your white blood cell count is through the roof.
right.
They took me to St. Louis Children's Hospital, which is one of the best pediatric hospitals in the United States. So I was very grateful for that care. And that's when they did a bone marrow biopsy and they found acute lymphocytic leukemia. So basically a mutation of my white blood cell, pre-B, a white blood cell. They found a mutation in my bone marrow. So they had to go in and we did multiple bone marrow biopsies and then multiple rounds of chemo off the bat. And then after being in a hospital for a month straight, they set me free, but I was still coming back to do chemo for 2.5 years.
Wow.
I think it was I want to say it was like every 2 or 3 months, I want to say I was doing chemotherapy. So pretty rigorous. And yeah, I was on steroids. I would take Tylenol with like codeine mixed into it for like different pains and migraines and those things. I basically was allergic to the sun because I couldn't go out there for long periods
Oh
of time.
no,
So I would get
that'd be
headaches.
brutal when you were
Yeah.
that age, right?
Yeah. Like my life was a lot different at the age of 7. I couldn't do a lot of things a normal kid could do, which was, it was tough, but I learned to think of the little things and be grateful for the little things in life. I was diagnosed the 30th of June, right? So I went to the hospital in July and I actually got to witness 4th of July from my hospital room, which is actually funny because I was 9 floors up. And I remember I got to see literally fireworks shows across St.
Oh
Louis.
wow.
And that was actually one of the coolest experiences. Even though I was in this tough situation, right? I
Yeah.
got to see multiple fireworks shows at the same time because of how high up I was being in the city. Not every moment of the process was an awful experience. There were some beautiful moments, some little moments of gratitude
Right.
that I got to witness and I get to carry over as a young adult now.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 2.5 years of treatment and did checkups every few months, and then it was every 6 months, and then checkups every year. And I don't go back there now, obviously, since I'm 27 years old, but I do get checkups like every year just to make sure vitals are normal.
Yeah. So then, as you grew up, what got you interested in doing some of the Reiki and the healing things that you're doing now? Is that just something you've started recently, or is that something you've been working on for a long time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm actually going to tie religion into this because I grew up pretty religious. I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
And reading the stories of Jesus was always super interesting and unique for me. Just reading the history of Jesus and how he healed people and then how other people were healed through obviously not normal techniques that we as a society adapted now, which is Western medicine.
Right.
The techniques of healing, regardless of who Jesus was at the time, the methods of healing at that time were different. They used herbs, they used Reiki, and they used different forms of medicine. So it always was interesting for me, like subconsciously, like in the back of my mind, I always thought it was cool. It just never really dawned on me to actually hop into that space until I would say after college, or yeah, like a few years after college, because like I played football in college. I tore my labrum. I took ibuprofen whenever my body was just messed up from practice or
Right.
games or whatever. I was big on the Western medicine front. But
Yeah.
once I got out of college and I started like delving into, like, I would get massages for like deep tissue. And one of my massages I got for deep tissue, my masseuse did Reiki on me for 10 minutes. And actually, it enhanced my massage because it relaxed me even more, because I was stressed on a mental state and like a subconscious state. And the Reiki actually calmed me down so my masseuse could actually get even deeper into my tissue and get into my cells more and be able to loosen me up. And it was one of the best massages ever. I did those, and I was
So
like,
now,
when's
so
the
I want to just back up a little bit, because this is great, right? This is something, it's a really interesting experience you had
yeah,
during just something that was normal to you, getting a massage, right? But then the Reiki thing. So I just want to, for people who, let's say you've just heard the term, but you have no idea what it means. What does that mean to people? When you said you did that and she did Reiki on you, what does that mean?
that's a great question, because not everyone is.
Am I pronouncing it wrong? Is it
Exact.
Reiki or Reiki?
No, it is
Okay,
Reiki.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's Reiki. So it's Reiki,
Reiki.
which is universe. It actually means in Japanese universal, like life giving energy.
Okay,
That's actually the phrase.
gotcha.
So Reiki basically is the concept of passing of energy through your hands. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are a Reiki practitioner, just like a masseuse, just like a chiropractor, which chiropractors and massage therapists are the biggest Reiki knowledgeable people outside of like actual Reiki masters. I would say chiropractors and massage therapists love Reiki and love utilizing Reiki in some way, shape, or form. So basically, I can put my hands on you. I can just hover my hands over you, actually. If you're not comfortable with having people touching you, totally fine. But basically, I tap into your metaphysical energy field, which, believe it or not, we have an electromagnetic field around us at all times. That's what kind of the soul concept is, the soul theory. Like, everyone has a soul. That soul purpose, or that soul that you have, has an electromagnetic field that comes around you. And if you look into history books, you look into Nikola Tesla, or you just look into Da Vinci, or a lot of people, like valuable philosophers, they talk about this electromagnetic field that you have.
And
So
I just did
that,
a bunch of research relatively recent, last couple of years,
yeah,
on frequencies, right? And then how your body
yes,
reacts to frequencies, because your body is made up of energy, right? So this is stuff a few
yes,
years ago, I thought you'd be crazy, right? If you said that, I'd be like,
yeah.
come on, that sounds really weird. But it is actually amazing how your
I was,
body is made up of energy, and it interacts with external things. So you have this literally energy filled around your body that it interacts with external things, like you mentioned. Yeah, stuff
exactly,
I didn't
no, 100%.
understand, but I want people to, at least if you don't get it, if you don't think it's true, just do a little bit of research, because I think you'll
Yes,
find that it's true. Your body, it does have this energy field around it, and you are made up of energy, and you interact with external things like frequencies, and like he's mentioning with waves, like from the hands that he's talking about. So do your research before you say, this is crazy, I'm going to shut this episode off. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff.
for sure. And honestly, I was one of those guys too. I thought that was a hippie thing.
Right.
I thought it was a science type thing. On learning through different practitioners and learning through different, very high level, I would say, scientists that may not be accepted by Western medicine, but
Right.
have been accepted by. And that's the beautiful thing about podcasts, is podcasts give you the ability to actually have an unfiltered lens with media.
Yeah.
That's why I really enjoy some of the Joe Rogan people that come on to his show, and they talk about very high level topics that are controversial to Western medicine and kind of Western science,
Right.
because there is this old age medicine from like Eastern Europe. That's where Reiki started. Reiki started in Southeast Asia a long time ago. This has been around for a really long time, but it's not really normalized here because it goes against Western medicine in
Right.
some
Yeah, I
aspects.
talk a lot
But you
about the
have,
how our medical system has been compromised, what I call it, in the US, right? It's like we are only taught a specific way of doing medicine. At the end of the day, it's a pill for an ill, medical system. And I
Yeah.
love our doctors, I love our nurses, and I not to discount them at
Yes.
all. But I think the
Right.
problem is they've been set up this way that's just that without understanding the whole human body in and of itself, and they vilify all natural health practitioners, which is really unfortunate. So yeah, I love this discussion just because we need to talk about all of it, right? I think there's definitely a time for hospital if you have acute issues and problems, go there, right? And make sure you
Yeah.
get the help you need. But if you want to really help heal your body and get yourself better naturally, there's lots of different solutions, including stuff we're talking about today. So love it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
100%.
I'm on the
No,
same bandwagon you are.
you're all good. No, thanks for your input. Yeah, I agree. And no disrespect to nurses or doctors. If I break my arm, yeah, I'm gonna go to the hospital. I'm gonna get that practical care because there are like not all Western medicine is bad.
No, definitely
There
not.
are nothing is neither good nor bad. It's just it is, and we have the freedom of choice. That's the beauty of our lives. We have the freedom to choose what we want to choose. But getting into our electromagnetic field and like our whole like soul, I have the mind body soul connection as my business component. When I heal you on a spiritual level and a mental level that will eventually reflect into your physical level. So what I mean by that is when you get sick, it's called disease. And when you have a disease, it is basically just your spiritual realm talking to you, but your spiritual realm was trying to talk to you months ago or weeks ago. And then it got into your brain. And then you started developing maybe anxiety. Maybe you stopped sleeping. Maybe you were overthinking. Then your mental game is thrown off. And then when your mental game gets thrown off and you don't take care of that for a little bit, then you start getting sick because your body is stressed and your body is trying to tell you to slow down, or your body is trying to tell you to stop eating horrible foods. Maybe your body's trying to tell you, even like drinking alcohol, doing drugs, like your body rejecting you, or like you having some sort of sickness or illness is basically your spirit was trying to tell you this months ago. And then it went into your brain, and your brain was trying to tell you this a couple weeks ago, and now you're sick. And that is what I figured out was that mind, body, soul connection, and helping people on a soul level and healing their souls to then go into their mental state and give them the clarity to make better physical decisions, like in their three-dimensional world that they live in, eating better, not relying on drug usage, getting good sleep, lifting weights or exercising, but not exercising yourself to exhaustion, doing like some yoga, taking walks, low impact exercise as well. Because you see, actually, to go on a little bit of a tangent, I was a guy that was over exercising and overdoing because of sports, and like how my mental health was actually terrible. I was actually in the gym more, and then I was getting injured more, and I was like getting sick more, and I was actually burnt out. But I just thought you just got to work harder. No, that's not true. You need to actually rest more.
Right.
And that was just because I never, on a soul level and a mental level, I never thought I was good enough for
Interesting.
anything.
Right. Yeah.
So realizing that in my own brain, fixing that in my brain and my soul reflects now in my physical body. Like I don't get sick. Like I don't get sick because I know when to rest. I know when to go a little bit harder, but then I know days when to tone it back. I eat a lot better. I sleep a lot more. I don't really drink when I don't participate in drugs.
That is a really interesting topic and conversation is rest, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that. And I was a high level runner in college, and it was one of the really interesting aspects of that is you would, in the college I went to, it was a religious school and they didn't run on Sundays. And so I grew up not running one day a week before I even went to this school. So I'm like, oh, cool, this is good. It was a different religion than I am anyway, but it was a good thing because I took that day of rest, and that was really an oxymoron for a lot of people because they're like, okay, in college you need to go, run 120 miles a week, right? You need to do all this stuff, and there's the only way to do that is to run twice a day or at least all these runs, and you hurt your body by never giving it rest. And I think it did us such a service by taking that one full day off of the 7 and giving your body that time. So I learned through my athletics how important rest was. And I didn't know how important it was until I got to those levels, because it was really clear to see the difference in how we were performing and doing versus others. And over time, right? You could be like maybe super competitive for a while when you're just giving it all and your body's overreacting, but then boom, you're going to crash and you're going to have either an injury or you're going to have something bad happen to you. So anyway, I love that conversation because I think it's really important for people to understand that you do need to be in balance, right? You can't just be always go. Your body needs to have that. So I think what Cooper's saying is just spot on. So I love it. Keep going. Sorry, I don't want to keep interrupting you.
No,
Just
you
like a
are all
lot of
good.
these concepts you're talking about.
No, I love what you're bringing up. And honestly, cancer, I had to rest a lot, you know, but I had a principal who had a cot in her office and she let me sleep on it. As much as I needed to, I still was able to progress to the next grade. I still played sports here and there, but after treatments, I still had to take a lot of time to rest. So you would think I would have had that habit going forward. I don't know what happened. I'm still trying to figure that out in my own therapy sessions with myself, what kind of went lopsided. But after I tore my labrum in college, I had an identity crisis because I didn't get to practice and I didn't get to play games because I tore my labrum my freshman year. Then second year, I got surgery finally. And I just had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to be outside of being a football player. That was like my whole life for a long time.
Yeah.
And the problem with that was that's why I kept trying to go so hard and do different activities and try to fill my head with as much like capacity as possible. And then I was getting sick. I was either getting strep or like getting a virus or whatever. Like I was getting sick. And that was me being burnt out like for a really long time. And I was just choosing to ignore it. I was like, you just got to keep pushing forward.
Right.
And that was just self-deprecating. And now I learned it more through COVID and just being more by myself during COVID. I learned how to look introspectively and then take what type of negative feelings show up in my life and then how to heal those so I can be just a better person.
Nice.
Like a better son, brother, friend, partner. Like that's what it's all about. So that's what I try to do with others. And that's where the Reiki came in and the subconscious reprogramming came in.
Gotcha.
Because it's really just a lot of stuff that I healed on my own, just figured out on my own. I use a therapist right now, but I just learned how to heal some stuff through, like meditation, visualization, breath work, Reiki, and those spiritual healings trickled into my mental game. And now it's like in my physical realm because I did the work. You can't have a nice house and a strong house without a foundation.
Yeah, that's true. That's super true.
That's what the spiritual aspect does.
That's right.
It builds your foundation.
I love it. So now you're helping people through their issues and or problems with this all natural healing. Is that what we're just Reiki, or what do you see yourself as today?
Yeah. So I'm certified in Reiki levels 1 and 2, which basically is just you learn symbols when you learn the different levels of Reiki.
Okay.
So like level 3, you just get a new symbol. But basically how I tie it into my practice and my business concept is some people, they just want you to do Reiki on them and then work through different traumas. And some people want to just basically talk to me, vent to me. I guess I just come off as an empathetic person for people. At least that's what I've been told.
Right.
And that's why I shifted, because I got a business degree. I didn't get a psychology degree.
Gotcha.
I do love psychology. I've learned psychology. I've gotten certifications in different psychology forms.
Right.
But that was just people like random strangers coming up and venting. Hey,
I'm pretty good at this.
Like a nice guy. Yeah, like an empathetic guy. So let me just talk about my problems just randomly right then and there. So I'm like, if this is a pattern, I got to listen to this pattern. Like God's trying to tell me something. So God's trying to tell me, hey, you need to like heal people and you're going to do it in an unorthodox way. So I'm like, okay, let's figure out how I can be unorthodox without being like a social worker. So Yeah, basically, I have two different things. One is more of a life coaching, mentoring
Okay.
process with subconscious reprogramming. So basically, I work with you on how you talk to me, like what your issues in life are. And then I'm able to read your situation and think, okay, so where does that show up in your childhood? Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your siblings, maybe it's your friends, maybe it was like being bullied. Like everyone has a childhood experience that it happened to them and they chose to ignore it,
Right.
or they didn't get the proper healing mechanisms. So that's what we work on through a meditation and a guided exercise to drop into a theta wave state. I don't know if you've heard of theta waves, but it's the brainwave activity right before REM sleep.
Okay.
So I get you in theta wave. And once you're in theta wave, I'm able to find your trauma. And then we take that trauma wound and then we reprogram it from a limiting belief. I am not worthy of this. I am insert negative word
Right.
thought about yourself. The doubting, the negative limiting belief, we're going to reprogram that into a positive affirmation. I am worthy of this. I am a beautiful person. I am worthy of love. Like we switch the dynamic. And when we do that on your subconscious level, it hacks your brain to finally trickle it into your consciousness. And then actually it'll project into your reality. Because that's another thing I learned through energy psychology. Our subconscious is projected into your everyday reality. So, like when things happen to you that are somewhat negative, maybe not every single thing, but most of them are going to be created from your subconscious,
Interesting.
whether it's an interaction with someone or something. It's a subconscious belief that is actually a doubt or a negative. So, that is one of the things I do. So and it's like mentoring. I meet either once a week, every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever, and then I give you journaling prompts to work on by yourself, because journaling is another great therapeutic tool that people don't even realize. It is literally a $5 practice. You buy a journal, you get a pen, and then you write down every day what is going on in your mind, what's going on in your body, what's going on in your life. And it doesn't always have to be sunshine and rainbows, but you find the gratitude in that. If you do gratitude journaling every day for a month, just write 3 things you're grateful for every day. I know you can find it. It's going to pop up. It's gonna show in your life. I am grateful. When you say for 30 days straight that you're grateful for something, and your job life might turn around. When you say gratitude for your friendships, and maybe they're not there yet, but you do see the gratitude in it, it's gonna project into your reality eventually. Like that's the thing. It's all like in your thought process. So that's like the coaching mentorship
I
side.
like it.
The Reiki side is a little more aggressive. So basically, I'll do a 1 hour session with you and I will tap into your energetic field. And another just small tangent, I have an ability to visualize things. Like that's why my meditation is next level, because like my ability to visualize things is incredible. Vivid details and like all these things. I had that gift when I was a child and I was able to see not, but I could see like angelic entities and visions when I was a kid. That's how I prayed.
Wow.
Like I was praying through a meditative state and a visionary state and then writing about it.
So
So,
cool. Would pray when I was young, I would be like this and thank you, Lord, Amen. And
yeah.
here you are seeing angels. So you're, you're at a totally different
No,
level
it's
than I was when I was young.
no, and I appreciate my parents because they obviously nurtured
Yeah,
that.
that's awesome. Yeah.
And a lot of people obviously wouldn't understand that from a kid
Right.
talking to other kids. So my parents were able to nurture that and still be proud of it without me trying to like put myself out there in with my peers, because
In a
it
strange
was
way,
just
right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've taken that as a gift, and having that gift, I'm able to basically create visions of what's going on with the client that I'm working with.
Oh, wow.
So I can see the inner child. I can see the limiting belief. I can see what's going on with the person. I can hear things as well, whether it's like certain phrases or words or those sorts of things. And when I talk to you when I'm doing this, like when I'm doing Reiki, I'm usually talking to you because you don't have to talk back to me, but it just helps me understand what's going on with the session.
Right.
So when I see things or hear things, I let the client know. And when the client, every time I've said something like, hey, I'm seeing this, or hey, I'm hearing this, the client will respond, oh my gosh, that's like what I'm going through right now. Oh my gosh, this happened when I was a child. Oh my gosh, this is like something going on in my relationship with my boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. That's what happens in
Right.
these situations, because I do believe getting Reiki gifts and being attuned to Reiki, you open yourself up to receiving. You merge your energy field with someone else when you're working on them as a client. I'm not taking their energy, they're not taking my energy. I'm just moving theirs, but I'm also synced with their thoughts and their feelings.
Interesting.
Like I can feel if you're sad or happy. I get a headache. Funny thing, I get a headache if I work with people that overthink.
Really?
So people with very active brain, I get a headache because it's a lot for me to take in, and vice versa, because I get Reiki done by people. If I'm having blocks of my own that are hard to get through, I get Reiki done by people, and usually they're like getting a headache because my brain is very active.
All right.
So it's very funny
Yeah, that's
because
interesting.
you emotionally connect with people in that regard. But I've had some great breakthroughs. I worked with a woman who had a blocked throat chakra and she wasn't able to sing for over a year. I was able to unblock that through, it was inner child healing, because the inner child wanted to sing but never felt like she was safe enough to sing. So I unblocked that and made the inner child feel safe and healed. She started recording music 2 weeks after.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's what I really enjoy seeing. I enjoy seeing being able to help people very like rapidly.
Right.
That was one session when I was able to get her to sing in music again.
No,
Like
that's
that.
cool.
That's
something she hadn't done for a year, huh? Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
So it's an ability to really like fast. You can progress people faster through Reiki in
Nice.
terms of healing and unblocking.
That's super cool. So we only have a few more minutes left, Cooper. So what else do you want to talk about? And what else? I know we could go on for a lot longer, right? With your story, there's so many. You're so multifaceted with all the things that you do. I love the two things you mentioned that you do: the coaching and stuff you do, and then the Reiki. Anything else you want to chat about before we wrap up?
Yeah. So I got 3 books on Amazon.
Awesome. What are they?
One's called so Grand Rising Universe is a devotional meditative practice book that you read every morning, asking the universe for clarity on your life, asking questions, pondering just life in general, which is always good.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 poetic books, Virtues and Vices and The Good and the Evil. You can basically find all these things at my website, cooperharrison.org. I'm also on social media, which is very easy to find. Conscious Coop is on TikTok, and then Conscious Coop on Instagram.
Conscious, say it again. Conscious what? Conscious
Coop.
Gotcha.
So it's
gotcha.
Yes, Conscious and then COOP.
Perfect.
So that's for TikTok, and then also Instagram. Just know after Coop, you have to put the underscore sign for Instagram to find me.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm on social media. I got the weekly Coop podcast where I talk to entrepreneurs and business owners on the conscious side. My collective group is the Conscious Creators Kingdom. We have open enrollment right now, and you can sign up through my website, and you can actually get a free month at your first month in the group. And we do master classes. We're going to start doing them every week. I just brought on another partner to help with that, so she's wonderful. And yeah,
you got a lot of things going. That's exciting. That's super exciting.
I think it's good to be multifaceted.
Yeah.
I think it helps me not get bored.
Yeah, I definitely not. You're so busy. You got a day job, and then you're doing all these other things, which is amazing. We'll make sure that we have the links to your books, links to your website, and then we'll also include links to your your social media so people can get access to you. I just really appreciate you taking the time, Coop. Really nice to meet you, and just it's fun to see what an amazing experience you've had, right, in life, and it's really neat to see how you're trying to help people and naturally and faithfully, as I call it in the I Am Pain Free podcast. Naturally and faithfully is something key to my journey, and I want to make sure people get help naturally and faithfully. So I appreciate you sharing what you do and how you do it, and I wish you lots and lots of success.
Thank you, sir. I do love the quote, pain is just weakness leaving the body. I actually do think there is a lot of truth to that.
Yeah,
Like when you let go of pain, you let go through crying or like some sort of emotional release, and then you feel so much better.
That's right. One of the holistic doctors I work with, he says pain is a liar, because it's, even though there is physical pain, but you can literally, your mind can make up a lot of the issues that you do have. So exactly. You can trick it and you can fix it. So let's do that. Let's help people get pain free.
Yeah, I love it. I love the name. I love the story. Yeah, no, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, you bet. God bless you, Cooper. Really nice to meet you, and I wish you lots and lots of success.
Likewise, too.
All right. With that, we're signing off on the I Am Pain Free podcast. If you enjoyed in this episode, you might be expecting a sales pitch for a pain relief solution. But here's a pleasant surprise. I'm offering a 3-episode pop-up podcast absolutely free. This exclusive 3-episode private podcast series is packed with more value than many paid programs out there. And getting access to this is a breeze. If you're listening on your phone, simply open up your text messaging app and send the word pain free. It can be 1 or 2 words to 41 pain free. So that's 417-246-3733. Again, that's 417-246-3733. If you're not a fan of texting, no big deal, right? Just visit iampainfree.com. Super easy. iampainfree.com. You can access this private podcast series instantly for no cost. Right? This isn't just any podcast series. We call it Beyond Pain, the triple B blueprint for pain-free existence. It really is a treasure trove of secrets, expert interviews, and a resource vault, all aimed at guiding you to live pain-free naturally and faithfully, right? My passion. It's a rare and value-packed resource that we're thrilled to share with you. So don't wait. Just grab that cell phone, grab your text messaging app, type pain free in there, and just send it to 417-246-3733. Or, like I mentioned, go to iampainfree.com and unlock this exclusive content, all completely free. God bless.